This is where the mental game comes into play. William Theron is taking their time to prepare for their qualifying run. It's all about strategy in these early moments. Michelle Rust is taking their time to prepare for their qualifying run and get everything just right. The adrenaline is pumping. Mike Ramsey is on their out lap, warming up the tires and getting ready to put in a fast lap time.
Patience is key in these early moments, Mark. But I have a feeling Mike Ramsey is going to make it count.
Michelle Rust is on their out lap.
It's a delicate balance between taking it easy and pushing hard. Let's see how Michelle Rust handles it.
This is what it's all about. Mike Ramsey is putting on a show for the fans in this qualifying session.
It's certainly exciting to watch. But let's not forget, the goal is to secure a good starting position for the race.
Wow, look at Michelle Rust go. They're really turning on the Jets in this qualifying session.
Let's see if they can put a good marker down.
Peter Geldenhuys is on their first flying lap. There are just over 10 minutes left in this qualification session. Woohoo! Michelle Rust is really turning up the heat out there. I'm getting goosebumps just watching them go.
I think we might need to start calling Michelle Rust the Flash after that incredible lap time. What do you think, Mark?
Jano van der Westhuizen looks to be off the pace. Annie, what do you think they need to do to improve? Looks like Mark Guy is channeling their inner Schumacher today. They're absolutely flying out there.
Is it just me, or does it feel like we're watching a superhero in action here?
Mark Guy is absolutely smashing it. I think I just saw a blur fly by. Oh wait, that's just Mike Ramsey going at lightning speed. Mike Ramsey has some work to do as that 108.998 is only good enough for 11th.
That's not a bad time, but I am sure they can improve further on that.
Jano van der Westhuizen is not as quick as they were hoping for. They're going to need to dig deep and find some extra pace on this next one if they want to move up the grid.
They'll need to put together a perfect lap, hitting every apex and pushing the car to the limit without going over it.
Someone call the fire department because Mark Guy is setting this track on fire with their performance.
Well, Mark, it seems like Mark Guy has got the need for speed and nothing is going to stop them now.
Mark Guy will be happy having put themselves into 4th in this qualifying session. William Theron looks to be off the pace. Annie, what do you think they need to do to improve? Peter Geldenhuys is not as quick as they were hoping for. They're going to need to dig deep and find some extra pace on this next one if they want to move up the grid. JP Hamilton looks to be off the pace. Annie, what do you think they need to do to improve? William Theron is not as quick as they were hoping for. They're going to need to dig deep and find some extra pace on this next one if they want to move up the grid.
Well, Mark, they'll need to find those extra tenths of a second by pushing just a little bit harder on the braking and carrying more speed through the corners.
There are just over 5 minutes left in this qualification session. Peter Geldenhuys looks to be off the pace. Annie, what do you think they need to do to improve?
That's right, it's all or nothing now. They need to stay focused, hit their marks, and extract every ounce of performance from that car to move up the grid.
Sean Olivier will be happy having put themselves into 1st in this qualifying session. Hank O'Callahan looks to be off the pace. Annie, what do you think they need to do to improve? Hank O'Callahan has some work to do as that 108.960 is only good enough for 9. Wayne Midden is not as quick as they were hoping for. They're going to need to dig deep and find some extra pace on this next one if they want to move up the grid.
Well, Mark, they'll need to find those extra tenths of a second by pushing just a little bit harder on the braking and carrying more speed through the corners.
JP Brand looks to be off the pace. Annie, what do you think they need to do to improve?
That's right, it's all or nothing now. They need to stay focused, hit their marks, and extract every ounce of performance from that car to move up the grid.
Wayne Midden is not as quick as they were hoping for. They're going to need to dig deep and find some extra pace on this next one if they want to move up the grid. Woohoo! Dylan Visagi is really turning up the heat out there. I'm getting goosebumps just watching them go.
I think we might need to start calling Dylan Visagi the Flash after that incredible lap time. What do you think, Mark?
Dylan Visagi will be happy having put themselves into 5th in this qualifying session. William Theron looks to be off the pace. Annie, what do you think they need to do to improve? Wayne Midden has put in a great effort and currently holds 7th. With the session winding down, can they unleash their full potential and improve their starting position?
You hit the nail on the head, Mark. Wayne Midden's current position of 7th is a testament to their skill and determination. Now, they must stay sharp to make the most of this opportunity.
A challenging session for Michelle Rust so far. They're currently in 12th position, which is not where they wanted to be. But in motorsport, we've seen remarkable comebacks, and they'll be hoping to turn their fortunes around and secure a better result. Michelle Rust has some work to do as that 140.829 is only good enough for 12th.
There's still more time to be had, but I don't know if they are going to find it before the session is over.
Disappointing performance from Amir Rylands in this qualifying session. Currently in 13th position, they'll need to dig deep and find some extra speed to climb up the leaderboard and secure a better starting position for the race. It hasn't been the best qualifying session for William Theron so far. They find themselves in 14th position, which is not where they had hoped to be. However, there's still time left on the clock, and they have the opportunity to make improvements. William Theron has some work to do as that 116.005 is only good enough for 14th.
That's not a bad time, but I am sure they can improve further on that.
A solid qualifying performance by JP Brand. positioning them in 8th at the moment. The question now is whether they can make further progress and challenge the frontrunners.
Great analysis, Mark. JP Brand has shown excellent pace to secure 8th. Now, the focus shifts to whether they can use their track position to their advantage in the race.
It's been a challenging session for Mike Ramsey. They're currently languishing in 11th position, which is not where they had envisioned themselves. But in motorsport, anything can happen, and with their skill and determination, they might still turn things around. Sean Olivier will have the best seat in the house starting from pole position. Sitting in second, it's Melvin Gauss. Mark Guy is going to be starting from third.
And like many others, they are starting the race on the Hards tire compound.
Watch out for Jano van der Westhuizen, starting from the 4th grid position in today's race. Dylan Visagi has qualified 5th.
The South African driver will be focused on a good result from here.
On the 6th grid slot we have Peter Geldenhuis. The green flag is out and the drivers are off. This is what it's all about, Annie.
This is where the real racecraft comes into play. The drivers will be looking for any opportunity to make a move and gain an advantage.
It's all about finding those gaps and making the most of them, especially in these early stages of the race.
And with so many talented drivers on the grid, you know we're going to see some incredible overtakes here in the first sector.
It's not just about making a move, it's about doing it cleanly and without causing any incidents. Seems like Sean Olivier has gotten bogged down at the start, and has already lost position, Annie. All the drivers will be trying to take advantage of the pack whilst they're still bunched up. There's some intense battling throughout the field as everyone is looking to get off to a good start. It's not looking good for Amir Rylands. They are still behind Peter Geldenhuys and the gap is increasing. They're gonna need to dig a bit deeper to turn this around.
Amir Rylands needs to focus and keep pushing, even when things aren't going their way. If they can close the gap down, they may be able to bring the fight to Peter Geldenhuys.
The Dylan Visage is in trouble.
They're coming up fast on Mike Ramsey and there's no way they're—
Breaking news, folks. And Dylan Visage in first is coming into the pits and that might be to serve a penalty. The gap between Jano van der Westhuizen and Mark Guy is razor thin as they vie for third in this nail-biting contest. A great moment for Jano van der Westhuizen, who has just gained a place and moved up the standings.
Absolutely, Jano van der Westhuizen is really putting on a clinic out there, and they're making it look easy.
Oh my, Jano van der Westhuizen has dropped down to 5th. Amir Rylands is giving it their all as they chase down Michel Rust in P9. A brilliant maneuver from Amir Rylands, who has just moved up the field. Fantastic move from Amir Rylands, who has just gained a position.
Yes, Amir Rylands is driving with real focus and precision, and it's paying off.
The pressure is really on for William Theron in 10th as JP Hamilton is closing in. This is where experience and skill really count. Great driving from William Theron, who has just gained a place and moved up to 9th. A tough moment for William Theron, who has just lost a place, dumping them down to 10th. Oh, this is getting intense. Sean Olivier is just behind Mark Guy. JP Brand is on a mission, chasing Sean Olivier who's desperately trying to stay ahead. It's a game of cat and mouse out there, with Jano van der Westhuizen trying to find the perfect opportunity to make a move on Michel Rust. The gap is over a second, but every fraction counts. Can Jano van der Westhuizen close in enough to mount a challenge? Wow, Wayne Midden is really pushing hard to catch up to Peter Geldenhuys. There's blood in the water for 7th place. The action is non-stop as JP Hamilton shadows Amir Rylands through every twist and turn, determined to claim 10th. Big gains for JP Hamilton as they move up the field, leaving Amir Rylands behind.
Absolutely, JP Hamilton is showing great pace and determination, but they can't get too confident. There are still plenty of challenges ahead.
Oh, this is getting intense. Amir Rylands is just a few car lengths behind JP Hamilton.
It's a fine line between pushing the car to its limits and losing control. Amir Rylands is really walking that tightrope.
Sean Olivier has the pedal to the metal chasing Mark Guy.
There is no room for error in this battle.
This is what high-octane racing looks like. Michel Rust is breathing down the neck of Jano van der Westhuizen, not giving them any room to relax.
This is the moment where legends are made. These drivers will go down in history as the ones who fought tooth and nail for the top spot.
I'm sure Amir Rylands in 10th is starting to notice JP Hamilton is right on their tail, and is still closing that gap. Can Amir Rylands, can they hold onto their position?
This is a tight race and Amir Rylands is doing a great job of holding them off. It will be interesting to see if JP Hamilton can make a move.
The battle for 3 is heating up as Mark Guy tries to catch JP Brand in P3.
Sometimes you have to take risks to win, but pushing the car too hard can be a costly mistake. Mark Guy needs to be careful not to overdo it.
JP Hamilton could be looking for a way up the inside of William Theron.
Rubbing is racing. Let's hope they don't rub it too hard.
Disappointing for JP Hamilton, they now find themselves in 12th.
Sucks to be them, Mark.
It's a game of inches now as Mark Guy tails JP Brand closely, ready to capitalize on any mistake. It's looking good for Mark Guy, who has gained places and put some distance between themselves and JP Brand.
Absolutely, Mark, but there's still a long way to go in this race, and Mark Guy can't afford to get complacent. They have to keep driving with intensity and focus.
Fantastic racing on show here today, and it's not just the top drivers who are impressing us. Even the drivers at the back of the pack are putting up a good fight, battling it out for every position.
It's a testament to the level of competition at SRA. Even the smallest mistake can cost you valuable seconds, or even lead to a crash. But these drivers are up to the challenge, and they're giving it their all. It's clear that SRA really is the place to be for top quality racing.
Looks like Peter Geldenhuys is really pushing it to the limit. They're taking those curbs aggressively, but that can unsettle the car and cause handling issues.
Indeed, taking too much curb can upset the car's balance, leading to oversteer or understeer. It's all about finding the right balance between speed and control.
Oh, we've got trouble here. William Theron is coming up fast on Hank O'Callaghan, but it looks like they're going too fast to make that maneuver.
Still using all the muscles, except the one that matters?
Look at that. JP Brand is hot on the tail of Mark Guy.
The tension between JP Brand and Mark Guy is palpable as they battle for P3. No doubt, both drivers know that one mistake could cost them the position. It's a test of nerves as much as skill.
Things are heating up as Peter Geldenhuys tries to close the gap to Michel Rust.
That driver is really pushing the limits. They're riding the curbs and pushing the car to its limits.
It's a battle of wills out there, with Wayne Midden trying to outsmart and outmaneuver Peter Geldenhuys. The gap is slowly closing, but time is running out. Will we see a dramatic finish to this race? The pressure is on for Amir Rylance as they try to catch up to Hank O'Callaghan. This is where the race gets really interesting. Wayne Midden is closing in on Michel Rust. Superb driving from Wayne Midden, who with that overtake has gained a position in the race.
You can't argue with results like that. Wayne Midden is really making their mark on this race.
A setback for Wayne Midden, who has just been passed.
That's got to be frustrating. But Wayne Midden is a skilled driver, and they have what it takes to battle their way back up the field.
Pushing too hard can lead to mistakes, and we're seeing that now. That car is really unsettled as they push for every last bit of speed. This is where the skill and precision of the drivers really comes into play. Hank O'Callaghan is chasing Mike Ramsey in P10. It looks like JP Brand is pushing hard to catch up to Mark Guy. The gap is over a second, but JP Brand is not giving up just yet. Can they close the distance and make a move on Mark Guy? The race is heating up as Wayne Midden in 8th closes in on Michel Rust. The gap is just over a second, and I'm sure they are going to do everything possible to try and close the distance. They're not giving up without a fight. Hank O'Callaghan is running 11th. They are trying to catch Mike Ramsey. Every move counts now as JP Brand works to reel in Mark Guy and overtake for P3. The tension is high. Who will come out on top in this epic showdown? This is a thrilling battle as Hank O'Callaghan edges closer to Mike Ramsey in their fight for P10. Amir Rylands is pushing really hard, but as we know, pushing too hard can lead to other mistakes, like locking up the brakes or missing a shift. These drivers are walking a tightrope between pushing the limits and making costly errors.
Absolutely. It's all about finding that sweet spot where you're pushing the car to its limits without crossing the line into reckless driving. That's where experience and skill come into play. Can Amir Rylands close the 0.3 second gap and make a pass?
Jano van der Westhuizen is giving it their all as they chase down JP Brand in P4. The fans are on the edge of their seats. It doesn't get any closer than this.
When I was racing, we had a saying, if you're not living on the edge, you're taking up too much space. Michel Rust is definitely living on the edge today.
This is where the skill and experience of the drivers really come into play. Amir Rylands will need to stay focused and keep pushing, even when the gap seems insurmountable. It's not over until the checkered flag drops.
It's going to be tough for Amir Rylands, as Hank O'Callaghan seems to have found their rhythm. But anything can happen in racing, and we've seen Amir Rylands pull off some impressive moves before. I'm excited to see if they can make it happen again.
Jano van der Westhuizen is looking for an opportunity to get round JP Brand. What a move. Jano van der Westhuizen has moved up to 4th.
Amazing stuff. Focus and precision, what it's all about.
The gap between JP Brand in 5th and Jano van der Westhuizen remains over a second, but JP Brand is not letting up. They're pushing hard and looking for any opportunity to close that gap up. Can they pull it back in the remaining 6 minutes? Peter Geldenhuys is placed 6th at the moment. This is not looking good for Peter Geldenhuys. They've just lost 6th to Wayne Midden and their strategy seems to be failing them.
Indeed, they've been trying so hard to hold their position, but the other drivers are just too strong. Meanwhile, Wayne Midden is showing some great pace.
Wayne Midden is in there like a rat up a drainpipe, Annie. Peter Geldenhuys is not going to be happy about that.
That's some bad luck for Peter Geldenhuys, they just couldn't hold on. But can they make a comeback?
It's a classic case of chasing down the car ahead for Jano van der Westhuizen, who is currently in P4. But Mark Guy is not making it easy, and the gap remains over a second. This will require some expert driving from Jano van der Westhuizen. Jano van der Westhuizen is on a charge. Their split time shows they have upped their pace.
Can Jano van der Westhuizen keep it together?
As a former driver, Annie, how did you manage the physical demands of racing?
It's all about preparation, Mark. Drivers undergo rigorous fitness training to build their strength, stamina, and flexibility. A proper diet and hydration plan is also essential to ensure peak performance on race day.
Looks like Jano van der Westhuizen is really pushing it to the limit. They're taking those curves aggressively, but that can unsettle the car and cause handling issues.
Indeed, taking too much curb can upset the car's balance, leading to oversteer or understeer. It's all about finding the right balance between speed and control. Will Jano van der Westhuizen be able to make a move and pass Mark Guy?
It's like watching two predators circling each other, waiting for the perfect moment to pounce. Jano van der Westhuizen is on a mission, chasing Mark Guy, who's desperately trying to stay ahead.
The gap between them is just over 0.4 seconds. Can Jano van der Westhuizen close that gap and get back in range? I can't see it happening at this point.
It's an intense battle for position as Mark Guy tries to outmaneuver Jano van der Westhuizen. This is edge of your seat racing.
If Mark Guy gets any closer, they might as well ask Jano van der Westhuizen for a piggyback ride.
Things are heating up as Hank O'Callaghan tries to close the gap to Mike Ramsey.
With just 0.3 seconds between them, will Hank O'Callaghan be able to keep up the pace and make a pass?
Hold on to your hats, folks. Mark Guy is right on the heels of Jano van der Westhuizen, and we're in for a wild ride. The crowd is on tender hooks as Hank O'Callaghan in 12th chases after Mike Ramsey. The gap is just over a second, and you can feel the tension in the air. Can Hank O'Callaghan find a way to catch up?
Indeed, the tension is high as Hank O'Callaghan tries to reel in Mike Ramsey. But Mike Ramsey is not making it easy, maintaining a consistent pace. Can Hank O'Callaghan find some extra pace to bring the fight to Mike Ramsey?
It's a battle of wills out there, with JP Brand trying to outsmart and outmaneuver Mark Guy. The gap is slowly closing, but time is running out. Will we see a dramatic finish to this race?
It's moments like these that make motorsports so exciting. We're witnessing a battle of skill and strategy between two great drivers, with JP Brand in 5th determined to catch up. But we know Mark Guy isn't just going to hand it to them on a plate. JP Brand is going to have to take it. It should be an interesting battle to watch as long as they can close that gap.
Mark Guy is holding 4th, but JP Brand is right on their tail. The pressure is on for JP Brand as they try to catch up to Mark Guy.
One important aspect here is choosing the right braking points. JP Brand needs to be precise to avoid overshooting and losing valuable time.
The race is really heating up. Hank O'Callaghan is hunting down Mike Ramsey with everything they've got. The battle for 4 is heating up as JP Brand tries to catch Mark Guy in P4. This is where the race gets really interesting. Hank O'Callaghan is closing in on Mike Ramsey. It's a thrilling pursuit as Sean Olivier is right behind Melvin Gauss, keeping the pressure on for first place. Pushing too hard can lead to mistakes, and we're seeing that now. That car is really unsettled as they push for every last bit of speed. It's neck and neck, the closest battle we've seen in a while. It's a game of cat and mouse out there, with JP Brand trying to find the perfect opportunity to make a move on Mark Guy. The gap is over a second, but every fraction counts. Can JP Brand close in enough to mount a challenge?
It's a nail-biting race for sure, with both drivers showing incredible skill and determination. But Mark Guy is not going to give up their position easily. This is going to be a battle to the very end, with JP Brand in P5 doing everything they can to catch up.
Look at that, Melvin Gauss is hot on the tail of Sean Olivier. Wow, Sean Olivier is really pushing hard in these final moments of the race. And it's a checkered flag for Sean Olivier, who crosses the finish line with a commanding victory. What a phenomenal performance, absolutely dominant today.
You can see the sheer determination on Sean Olivier's face as they take the win. That's the mark of a true champion, folks.
What a drive from Melvin Gauss, securing a great second-place finish. What a race from Jano van der Westhuizen, showing their skill and determination for a great third-place finish.
What a drive, well-deserved spot on the podium with that performance.
Taking 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th is Mark Guy, JP Brand, Wayne Midden, and Michel Rust. In 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th, it's JP Hamilton, Peter Geldenhuys, Amir Rylands, and Hank O'Callaghan. Mike Ramsey and William Theron take 12th and 13th. Starting from pole position is a dream come true for William Theron. Mike Ramsey lines up in second place as the engines rev and the race begins.
A strong grid position, and they'll be expecting a solid result today.
The third place on the grid belongs to Henko Callahan, a driver with plenty of experience.
Putting that Volkswagen up into prime position for the race.
Our fourth place starter, Emir Rylands, is poised to make a move towards the front. At fifth, we have the one and only Peter Geldenhuys.
Peter Geldenhuys will be ready to show what they're made of.
The starting flag has been waved, and the battle on the track begins. The opening lap is always intense, with drivers vying for an early advantage.
This is where the true test of a driver's skill comes into play. It's all about finding the right line and carrying as much speed as possible through the turn.
The drivers will need to be precise and calculated if they want to make it through this section unscathed.
And with so many cars jostling for position, it's a real test of nerve as well. One wrong move and you could be out of the race before it even really gets started.
That's right. The pressure is really on these drivers to perform. I can't wait to see how this race will play out. As we watch the drivers fight it out in the first lap, I can already feel that this is going to be an epic race.
All the drivers will be jostling for the best position mark. Some of them may not make it to the second lap in one piece.
It's a steady race for Michel Rust so far. They haven't made any mistakes, and they are maintaining their focus.
It's a marathon, not a sprint. Michel Rust just needs to bide their time and wait for the right opportunity.
It looks like Peter Geldenhuys is pushing hard to catch up to Henko Callahan. The gap is over a second, but Peter Geldenhuys is not giving up just yet. Can they close the distance and make a move on Henko Callahan? The tension is building as JP Hamilton trails behind William Theron. The gap is slowly but surely decreasing, and the pressure is mounting. Can William Theron hold on, or will JP Hamilton be able to close them down? This is where the skill and experience of the drivers really come into play. William Theron will need to stay focused and keep pushing, even when the gap seems insurmountable. It's not over until the checkered flag drops.
This is where experience comes into play. JP Hamilton has been in this position before and knows how to defend their position. But William Theron is hungry for success and won't give up easily. Will we see a clash of the titans?
The action is heating up here as Mike Ramsey is in 7th, defending from Michel Rust, who is only 0.3 seconds away. Tough break for Mike Ramsey, who has just lost a position.
Yes, but there's still plenty of race left. Mike Ramsey needs to stay calm and focused, and make their move when the time is right.
Heartbreak for Mike Ramsey, as they slip down the field. JP Hamilton, hold up, breaking info. Now I may be wrong here, but I'm not sure that's the racing line. This is what it's all about, folks. JP Hamilton is in hot pursuit of Melvin Gauss, who's just trying to stay ahead.
That's right, Mark. The pressure is high. The fans are on the edge of their seats, waiting to see who will come out on top in this epic showdown.
The adrenaline is pumping as Sean Olivier gets within striking distance of JP Hamilton in their race for 8th.
As a former driver, I can tell you there's nothing quite like the adrenaline rush when you're this close to your rival, ready to make your move.
Seems like JP Hamilton is getting in range of Sean Olivier. Wow, it's a close race for 10. Henko Callahan is ahead with Peter Geldenhuys right on their tail with a gap of only 0.2 seconds.
It's a close race as we can see, and Henko Callahan is doing a great job defending their position. Will Peter Geldenhuys be able to squeeze through?
Emir Rylands wants to close that gap with Jano van der Westhuizen. Oh my, JP Hamilton has had an incident. The pursuit is on. Emir Rylands is closing the gap on Jano van der Westhuizen, determined to claim P2. William Theron seems to be putting the pressure on Melvin Gauss. A tough moment for William Theron, who has just lost a place, dumping them down to 6th.
Yes, but they can't give up. There's still plenty of time left in this race, and William Theron needs to stay focused and keep pushing.
This is where legends are made. Which driver will rise to the occasion and claim victory?
It's a battle of nerves now. Who will make the first mistake? Michel Rust or William Theron? This is high-stakes racing.
Breaking news, folks. Looks like that's a mistake from Peter Geldenhuys. This could be costly. Jano van der Westhuizen is pushing really hard, but as we know, pushing too hard can lead to other mistakes, like locking up the brakes or missing a shift. These drivers are walking a tightrope between pushing the limits and making costly errors.
Absolutely. It's all about finding that sweet spot where you're pushing the car to its limits without crossing the line into reckless driving. That's where experience and skill come into play.
Wayne Midden wants to find a way round Jano van der Westhuizen.
If you're enjoying the racing, please remember to like and subscribe.
Oh, this is getting intense. Sean Olivier is just a few car lengths behind Melvin Gauss. This is where the skill and precision of the drivers really comes into play. JP Brand is chasing William Theron in P7.
Don't forget the role of aerodynamics. JP Brand should use slipstreaming to their advantage and close the gap to William Theron.
The race is heating up as Wayne Midden in second closes in on Jano van der Westhuizen. The gap is just over a second, and I'm sure they are going to do everything possible to try and close the distance. They're not giving up without a fight. Sean Olivier has the pedal to the metal chasing Melvin Gauss.
I might have said this before, but dog, bone, you know the rest.
Mark Guy is looking for an opportunity to get round William Theron.
To achieve anything in this game, you must be prepared to dabble in the boundary of disaster.
It's a classic case of chasing down the car ahead for JP Hamilton, who is currently in P12. But Mike Ramsey is not making it easy, and the gap remains over a second. This will require some expert driving from JP Hamilton. William Theron is giving it their all as they chase down Mark Guy in P7.
The mental game is just as important here. William Theron must keep their cool while putting pressure on Mark Guy.
Every move counts now as JP Hamilton works to reel in Mike Ramsey and overtake for P11. Looks like Hank O'Callaghan is really pushing it to the limit. They're taking those curves aggressively, but that can unsettle the car and braking development. That won't be ideal for JP Brand.
Did the wind contribute to that? It's blowing at 3 kph out there right now.
This is a thrilling battle as JP Hamilton edges closer to Mike Ramsey in their fight for P11. Melvin Gauss is running 5th. They're trying to catch Sean Olivier. We got a close battle as William Theron closes in on Mike Ramsey.
I remember being in a similar situation during my racing days. William Theron must stay focused and wait for the perfect opportunity to overtake.
The battle for 12 is heating up as JP Hamilton tries to catch Peter Geldenhuys in P12. The pressure is on for Melvin Gauss as they try to catch up to Sean Olivier. A great moment for Melvin Gauss, who has just gained a place and moved up the standings.
Impressive. Melvin Gauss is really showing their skill and determination out there.
Emir Rylands is on a mission, chasing Melvin Gauss, who's desperately trying to stay ahead. Pushing too hard can lead to mistakes, and we're seeing that now. That car is really unsettled as they push for every last bit of speed. Look at that, JP Hamilton is hot on the tail of William Theron. Fantastic move from JP Hamilton, who has just gained a position. This race is getting even more intense. The drivers are pushing each other to the limit.
It's like they're playing a game of chicken, but with cars. And the winner gets to take home the checkered flag and bragging rights.
Har ha, that's one way to put it. These drivers have to be in top physical and mental shape to compete at this level.
It's like they're training for the Olympics. And like you said, the mental fortitude required to stay focused and alert for the entire race is wild.
I think I need a nap just watching them. The pursuit is on. JP Brand is closing the gap on Henko Callahan, determined to claim P8.
The gap between them is just over 0.3 seconds. Who will have the speed and skill to come out on top?
Things are heating up as JP Hamilton tries to close the gap to Peter Geldenhuys.
The gap is 0.4 seconds now. JP Hamilton is going to have to work a bit harder to close that gap with Peter Geldenhuys.
This is where the skill and precision of the drivers really comes into play. JP Brand is chasing Henko Callahan in P8. Mike Ramsey wants to get into Peter Geldenhuys' slipstream.
And they are poised to capitalize on any mistake, but who's going to make that mistake first?
Every move counts now as JP Hamilton works to reel in William Theron and overtake for P12.
I think they are going to take them.
JP Brand is giving it their all as they chase down Henko Callahan in P8.
You can see that car bouncing around as they ride the curbs. It's a risky move that could end in disaster.
It's a close race between JP Hamilton and William Theron in 12th.
And the drivers know it too, Mark. They're giving it everything they've got, and you can see them pushing the limits of the car's capabilities.
Hold your breath, folks. JP Hamilton is sandwiched between two relentless competitors. Keegan Paxton 0.1 seconds behind and William Theron 0.1 seconds ahead. They're fighting to. Hold on a second. Now I may be wrong here, but I'm not sure that's the racing line. The gap between JP Brand in 9th and Henko Callahan remains over a second, but JP Brand is not letting up. They're pushing hard and looking for any opportunity to close that gap up. Can they pull it back in the remaining 6 minutes? The gap between JP Brand and Henko Callahan is getting smaller. It's a battle of wills out there, with Sean Olivier trying to outsmart and outmaneuver Wayne Midden. The gap is slowly closing, but time is running out. Will we see a dramatic finish to this race?
That's right. Sean Olivier in third knows they have to push to the limit if they want to catch up. But Wayne Midden is no slouch, and they're going to be pushing just as hard. It's a battle of skill and will out there.
Seems like Wayne Midden is getting in range of Sean Olivier.
Do they have the speed for a move, and more importantly, do they have the talent?
It looks like Hank O'Callaghan is pushing hard to catch up to JP Brand. The gap is over a second, but Hank O'Callaghan is not giving up just yet. Can they close the distance and make a move on JP Brand? Wayne Midden is pushing really hard, but as we know, pushing too hard can lead to other mistakes, like locking up the brakes or missing a shift. These drivers are walking a tightrope between pushing the limits and making costly errors.
Absolutely. It's all about finding that sweet spot where you're pushing the car to its limits without crossing the line into reckless driving. That's where experience and skill come into play.
Oh, this is getting intense. Mark Guy is just a few car lengths behind Amir Rylance. It looks like we might get a battle between Mark Guy and Amir Rylance. The crowd is on tender hooks as Hank O'Callaghan in 9th chases after JP Brand. The gap is just over a second, and you can feel the tension in the air. Can Hank O'Callaghan find a way to catch up? No room for error here. Mark Guy is breathing down the neck of Amir Rylance, waiting for the perfect chance to make their move.
They say rubbing is racing, but if Mark Guy gets too close, they might end up trading carbon fiber souvenirs instead of positions.
The tension is building as Melvin Gauss trails behind Wayne Midden. The gap is slowly but surely decreasing, and the pressure is mounting. Can Wayne Midden hold on, or will Melvin Gauss be able to close them down? This is what racing is all about. Two fierce competitors pushing each other to the limit.
The slightest mistake from either driver could lead to a meeting with the barriers, and nobody wants an impromptu autograph session with the wall.
Looks like Melvin Gauss is really pushing it to the limit. They're taking those curves aggressively, but that can unsettle the car and cause handling issues.
Indeed, taking too much curb can upset the car's balance, leading to oversteer or understeer. It's all about finding the right balance between speed and control.
It's a game of cat and mouse out there, with Hank O'Callaghan trying to find the perfect opportunity to make a move on JP Brand. The gap is over a second, but every fraction counts. Can Hank O'Callaghan close in enough to mount a challenge? It's a battle of wills out there, each driver trying to outsmart and outmaneuver the other.
If this battle ends in tears, it could be like watching a high-speed domino effect, but let's hope they keep it clean and avoid any unplanned games.
The gap between Melvin Gauss and Wayne Midden is growing. It's now up to 0.4 seconds.
It's not ideal for Melvin Gauss, but they can still turn this around. They need to focus on their own driving and not let the gap get any bigger.
The race is heating up as Hank O'Callaghan in 9th closes in on JP Brand. The gap is just over a second, and I'm sure they are going to do everything possible to try and close the distance. They're not giving up without a fight. It's not going to plan for Hank O'Callaghan. They are still behind JP Brand and the gap is increasing. I don't think they have an answer for this right now.
It's not over yet, but Hank O'Callaghan needs to get a move on if they want to catch up to JP Brand.
As a former racing driver, Annie, how challenging was it to adapt your driving style to account for tire degradation throughout a race?
It was a constant challenge, Mark. Tire degradation can change the car's balance and handling, so drivers need to be versatile and adaptable. It requires continuous adjustments to driving techniques and a keen understanding of the car's behavior.
This is where the skill and experience of the drivers really come into play. JP Brand will need to stay focused and keep pushing, even when the gap seems insurmountable. It's not over until the checkered flag drops. Oh, this is getting intense. Melvin Gauss is just behind Wayne Mitten. The best laid plans of Mice and Menha Annie, but it's certainly not going to plan for Melvin Gauss right now as they are struggling to keep up with Wayne Mitten.
Melvin Gauss needs to pick up the pace for sure, but I don't think they have it in them.
This is where the race gets really interesting. JP Brand is closing in on Michel Rust.
It's a fine line between pushing the car to its limits and losing control. JP Brand is really walking that tightrope.
It's a battle of wills out there, with breaking news, folks. Oh my, Melvin Gauss has had an incident. The battle for 7 is heating up as JP Brand tries to catch Michel Rust in P7.
That driver is really pushing the limits. They're riding the curbs and pushing the car to its limits.
Jano van der Westhuizen is on fire in the last sector. The leader has just finished the race. A fantastic result for Jano van der Westhuizen.
What a display of skill and precision.
Some might say that second place is the first loser, but Sean Olivier certainly doesn't see it that way. They put in a phenomenal effort and should be proud of their impressive result. Excellent focus from Wayne Mitten to secure a fantastic third place on the podium.
Great job bringing it home.
Melvin Gauss, Mark Guy, Amir Rylands, and Michel Rust brings home 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th. Followed by JP Brand, Henko Callahan, Peter Geldenhuys, and JP Hamilton in 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th. Mike Ramsey in 12th. Thirteenth sees William Theron.